Hello and welcome to the show. Today I shall be reviewing the Maserati MC12, recently released for Forza 5 in the February DLC pack, whatever the damn thing is called. This is a car that I think is often a little bit overlooked. You don't see very many of these being raced around on Forza games, and it's a car that I quite like, although it's a little bit hard to explain quite why I like this car. Now, we often joke about the Ford Country Squire being rather large, however, I'm pretty sure this is bigger. I cannot actually, if you try in the Forza Vista and fit the entire car in, side on, you just can't quite get it to work. You can't walk far enough back to fit the entire car in shot. It is a humongous thing, the Maserati. It's incredibly long, incredibly wide, vastly impractical. If you were going to use it, I can't imagine trying to drive this, manoeuvre this through sort of small roads. It would be atrocious. Admittedly, if you are spending the 670-odd thousand credits or pounds or however much one of these things cost nowadays, you're not going to be buying one of these to be practical, because it's really not. It was built to, it's like a homologation special to allow these to run in the FIA GT1 class, of which they were massively successful. I believe, if I got the stats up here right, they won 40 out of the 94 races that they entered. They took 6 team championships, 6 drivers championships, 2 constructors championships. This thing was phenomenally successful in the G. I didn't realise how quick these things were and how good they were in the racing. These things were ridiculously successul. As a road car, well, it's got all the supercar statistics, if you like. 624 horsepower, weighs just over 3,000 pounds. 0-60 comes and goes in 3.7 seconds. It will hit 100 in under 8, and it has a top speed of 200 miles an hour. No real surprises in that lot. However, the big surprise for me with this car is the way that it drives. I was thinking, with it being very powerful and rather large, it would be a bit ungainly, and with the Forza's general lack of grip for any of the cars, I was expecting it to be a bit slidey. It is a rather powerful Italian supercar after all. However, that's really not the case. Ignore me slightly cutting the corner. I got it a little bit wrong here. Abu Dhabi is a tough place, actually, for testing cars. The curbs here are absolutely horrendous. Cars really do not like running over the curbs here. However, the handling of the Maserati is different. I like it. I'm sure there are people out there who won't, though. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I like a car. Maybe you're new to watching our channel, in which case, hello. Yeah, if you don't watch our videos regularly, I like a car that is planted. I want the back of my car to stay on the road. I don't want it to be sliding around. And if the trade-off for that is to have a car with a bit of understeer, I'm absolutely fine with that. I often use the Viper ACR as an example of pretty much how I want a car to drive. If I'm tuning a car, that's how I tune it. So when I say that this car is a bit understeery, yeah, it's kind of a big thing. This thing is, it's an odd car to drive. It will take a bit of getting used to. The back end of this car is planted very well. It's as good as the ACR Viper in that respect, and it's very rare that I say that. On Forza, if you're a bit stupid, you will get it sliding around, of course. Yeah, it's very easy to on Forza 5. However, it is very well planted. Just, it does have quite a bit of understeer. You will get used to it, and I think this is a very, I wouldn't say an easy car to drive, but it's, once you've learned, you can push this car really quite hard because it's very predictable. And I like the handling. It's nice, it's safe, it's predictable. However, I'm sure there will be those of you who won't. Its big rival is the Ferrari Enzo. These two were built on the same chassis, although you wouldn't know it from looking at them. They are rather different. The Enzo is much smaller, much more compact, and on paper, the Enzo should be quite a lot faster. It's got more horsepower, it's got slightly more torques, it's slightly lighter. 0-60 takes 3.2 seconds, 0-100 is 6.5, and it'll go on to a top speed of 218 miles an hour. So in pretty much every statistical aspect, the Ferrari is the better of the two. It's also rated over 30 PI higher than the Maserati. However, in real life, the Maserati has beaten the Enzo both at the Top Gear test track and at the Nürburgring. So, these two are interesting rivals. The Ferrari has some interesting handling characteristics as well. It is fairly understeer. I wasn't expecting this from either of these cars. The Enzo is still a little bit understeery, and the high-speed corners can be a little bit uncooperative. The difference is it's not as bad as the Maserati. However, you don't have the same plantedness, if that's a thing, as you get with Maserati. This thing, it's just more unpredictable, it's more unreliable, as we'll see as we go through this chicane. The Enzo gets a big slide on, and you just won't get that with the Maserati unless you are really, really trying to make it do it. It just won't happen. Whereas in the Enzo, it's very, very easy. If you're coming out of a slow-speed corner, like a second-gear corner, you can put your foot down in the Maserati, and it will grip. Okay, there is a possibility you might get a tiny bit of a slide, but it's so controllable you can just floor it and not worry about it. The Enzo is a completely different story. You just won't. If you come out of a slow speed corner in second gear and you floor it, you will get a big slide on most of the time. May have missed my braking points a little bit. However, the Enzo doesn't have the understeer through the higher speed corners. Also, when you're coming down these straights, by the end of the straight, the Enzo will be doing sort of 175 miles an hour, whereas the Maserati will be doing 160. Yeah, the acceleration is kind of noticeable with the Enzo. However, I prefer the handling of the Maserati. Another kind of criticism, this is a bit of a funny one, with the Enzo, is that the windscreen pillar, I guess it is, on the left is in a really bad place. Now, this may not affect you if you don't drive in cockpit view. It probably won't affect 98% of people. But that windscreen pillar is in a really annoying place. As you'll see when I come up to the hairpin at Abu Dhabi, it really rather restricts your view. Now, when I'm hot lapping, that doesn't really matter too much. So don't put a wheel. This is what I mean about the curves being terrible here. They really are if you put a wheel over them. But as you'll see, as I come up towards the hairpin, you cannot see the apex at all. You are completely blind turning into that corner. And I've never had this problem with any other car on this game. I never noticed anything with the Maserati when I was driving. Okay, sure, these are race cars. You know, they're not going to have, or they're designed to be very fast. Sorry, they're not race cars, but they're designed with speed in mind, not with anything else pretty much. But I've never noticed this as a problem for any other car or any other corner. It's just the Ferrari, occasionally the pillar will get in the way. And I would imagine if you are racing and you're trying to see where other cars are and all of that, it's just a little bit annoying. That it's just enough, not a big thing, just, yeah, a little bit annoying. Anyway, it is time to hand both the cars over to our tame racing driver. He hasn't been out for ages, Stig. We haven't seen him drive cars. What was the last one? The Maserati Tipo, probably? And yeah, see what he can do around the test track. Now, I was expecting the Ferrari to be quite a way ahead by the time they get to the first corner with its faster accelerating, but it wasn't. I guess the Maserati got a... I don't know. I'm not quite sure how that one works. Because Maserati has slightly better traction, possibly. Yeah, that confuses me as well. As they come up towards Chicago, they are still very, very close on this opening section. The Maserati will struggle a little bit with the understeer, whereas the Ferrari will struggle to put the power down. As they go up towards the hammerhead, they are literally neck and neck. And Ferrari is very, very slightly ahead as they break into hammerhead. Again, the Maserati is going to struggle getting turned in here. As you can see, Stig on his practice laps has taken out some cones, while the Ferrari, you can see, is wiggling all over the place on the exit, trying to put the power down. This is where, though, it seems the Ferrari has the advantage. On this acceleration, this top speed of the Enzo, that just manages to get ahead of the Maserati. And you can see as they come through the tyre walls, the Enzo is starting to pull out a little bit of a margin. They come up towards the second to last corner, and the Ferrari is fairly solidly in the lead. The Maserati struggles a little bit with the understeer through here, whereas the Ferrari doesn't have that problem, and it's just trying to put the power down and to get across the line. The Enzo is across the Maserati. I'm afraid that was the end of the replay. So yeah, that's why that one cut off. Stig probably won't be too happy with me showing this. However, this is a weird thing. We've seen a couple of times now. Stig have problems with this particular bit of track as they run down towards the second to last corner. The car just spins under braking. I'm not entirely sure what it looks like from the replays anyway when I watch them is that if you put like the back wheel of the car slightly over kind of a sort of a curb and you put the brakes on, it spins the car. That's a pretty big accident though. It's well, not an accident really, just a pretty big spin at a rather high speed. Anyway, on to the lap times, and it is the Ferrari Enzo that goes to the top of our leaderboard with 1:14.5, almost a second quicker than the Lamborghini Aventador. The Maserati, well, yeah, as you saw in the video, the first half it kept up with the Enzo. Pretty much up until the hammerhead, it was right with the Enzo. And it just lost out in the final, I guess the final half of the lap. Just hasn't quite got the acceleration and top speed. Still a pretty damn good time, though, to beat the Aventador. Despite that, of the two cars, the one that I would have is the Maserati. And it's very hard to explain why. I think it's a bit better looking. Yes, it's absolutely huge in the wing. You could probably have a decent picnic on the wing. I just think it's a slightly better looking car than the Enzo. I think it's slightly better sounding as well, and I kind of like it for the fact that it's a bit rarer, it's a bit less used than the Enzo. Also, it is quite a bit cheaper. The MC12 is 620,000 credits, the Enzo 760,000 credits, and there's certainly not sort of 140,000 credits worth of performance difference in them, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Admittedly, it is still quite a lot of money for what is essentially a high A-class car, because your Ferrari 458s, your Lamborghini Aventador, your McLaren MP4 12C, all of them are considerably cheaper than the Maserati and will probably put in similar lap times. However, I do quite like the Maserati. It's an odd one. It's a hard one to explain, but I really do quite like this car, and I do recommend you give it a drive, give it a go. I think it drives absolutely excellently. Yeah, some people might not, but no, this is a really good car. Don't forget about the MC12. It is a nice car. But yes, that is it for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you have cars, if you like me doing kind of reviews and stuff, if you have more cars you would like to see me review, then please do let me know in the comments and leave your suggestions for cars. If people want to see some more reviews, then I shall be doing some more reviews. However, that is it for today. So thank you very much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.